Hi everyone, this is Aishwarya Sandeep and welcome to the ninth episode of In Conversation with Aishwarya. Today we are talking about a subject that has been very close to my heart, glamorizing overwork. What do I mean or what is my intention when I say about glamorizing overwork? Now in India, it's a general practice that you just enter your house at around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and everyone is like, oh my god, my husband is so hardworking. Oh my god, my daughter is so hardworking. She works 3 hours, she works 4 hours beyond her office hours. We think that if a person leaves his office on time, it means something is wrong with him. Probably his office doesn't give him sufficient work. Probably his office thinks that he's not a good employee and that's why they send him home. Probably he's not capable enough to handle all those good, creamy projects of the office. This is what is in our mindset when we see a person leaving on time. If you're working late, it means that, oh, you're a good employee, you are a productive employee, you're someone who contributes to the company. But this practice has brought a lot of collateral damage in our society. Divorce rates are at their highest. Children are suffering from a lot of trauma because they are not able to get the attention of both the parents. Elders, senior citizens, they barely see their own children. Apart from that, there are other damages such as a lot of youngsters who are suffering from heart ailment and other health issues. We will be talking about how glamorizing overwork has had a huge impact on our lives and what is the solution to this problem. Is this a problem that can have a solution or is it something that is just a practice or chalta hi rahega? So to talk about the same, I have with me Vandana Joshil, who is the managing director of Lajja. I have Ritvika Mutsudi, who is a holiday expert and a wonderful blogger. I have with me Christine DeCosta, who is the founder of Morningstar Innovative School. They'll be joining us in a couple of seconds. Hello, everyone.
Hi there, Aishwarya.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Hi. Oh, that's amazing. So before we begin with our today's show, let's begin with the introduction. So Vandana, please do tell us about yourself and also about Lajja.
Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Vandana Joshil. I am the managing director of Lajja, and basically, I'm somebody who's had about 2 years, 2 decades experience in writing. I've worked with the corporate sector, and now I'm a freelancer, and of course, associated with Lajja. And at Lajja basically is a forum that believes that women don't need empowerment because we already are empowered. The fact that we do so many roles and manage so many things that are thrown at us means that we're already empowered. What we need is we need people to acknowledge the work that we do. We need them to accept us for what we are doing. We need them to appreciate and encourage us. And this encouragement should come not just from the men who are around us, but also from the women who work with us or who support us or who stay at home. So this is like a unless I grow, I can't. The usual thing is that unless I grow, I won't let others grow. But here we believe in we all grow together. So that is what Lajja is. And I'm very happy to be invited for such a panel discussion because this is a topic which is very close to my heart. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Vandana. Even I'm honored to have you on this show because I've been following your work since quite a long time. And Lajja has been doing a great work in empowering women. Next, we move on to Ritvika, who's an amazing writer. And the best part about her is she talks about issues that are right in front of your eyes, but you still somehow seem to miss it. So, Ritvika, more than me talking about you, it would be best if you could introduce yourself.
Thanks for those kind words, Aishwarya. Yeah, hi there. I'm Ritvika Roy Mutsudi. I'm a holiday expert with Make My Trip. And I also write a lot about parenting and women's issues because I generally relate to them a lot. I've been a parent for almost 19 years now, and so I can relate to each aspect of parenting very well, and that's what I share in my blog, so that it could help other mothers out there. And I also write a lot about women's issues because I feel women are still not getting what they deserve in our society. They are empowered, yes, but still they need a lot of support, encouragement, and the gender bias still exists. So we need to work on that also. So I mainly write about those things which I feel that it should reach out to more people, and women should break those stereotypes and try to, make their name in the society. So that's all about me. And I would really like to thank Aishwarya for inviting me in this panel. And I have these lovely panelists with me here. So looking forward to it now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ritvika, for contributing into our panel discussion and helping people to know more about your viewpoints. Next, we have with us Christine DeCosta. If I start introducing her, even these 45 minutes will be very less. So one simple thing I can tell you is she is the founder of Morningstar Innovative School. The best part about her is she uses innovative techniques, simple techniques to teach our kids through online classes. She also conducts a lot of programs for women, that is on English speaking, personality development, etc., etc. So instead of me talking about her, Christine, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Thank you, my co-panelists. And it's indeed a privilege to be here. Yes, I'm the founder of Morningstar Pre-Primary School. But before that, I had my other firm, that is CESA, that started for housewives. It's an English-speaking academy for housewives. We believe that women in the house need to be empowered. Why? They are already empowered, but they need a voice so that they get more empowered. So we started this course on a social forum, and we believed that this would go hit, and it eventually went. And from there, we went on to empower not only women, children, adults, and many. So recently, we have started something called Inspiring Fridays, where we connect with women entrepreneurs. We believe if you can dream it, we can help you to achieve it. So we connect with women entrepreneurs, bringing them together, showcasing their brand and her brand story. In India, women entrepreneurs are few. Small scale women entrepreneurs are few. We want to grow as a community. So we want them to actually experience. I'm also a member of Wiki Women Chambers. I have a lot of experience teaching because I have been a lecturer. And if I continue with this introduction of myself, it's going to be too much. So I'm just going to stop. Yes, I love to teach. To teach is to touch lives. And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Aishwarya. And thank you, Vandana ma'am, Ritika. Looking forward for a wonderful interaction with all of you. So that's from me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Christine. And indeed, we have. I'm looking forward to learn a lot from the panelists today. So coming down to the main session for panel discussion today, that is glamorizing overwork. As I had told in my introductory video, that in India it has become a norm, a tradition, that if you work beyond your working hours, you are someone who's a productive employee, you are someone who's a star employee. So what do you think? What do the panelists think about the same? I'm sure everybody has faced the backlash of this attitude, this lifestyle that we have all been, or this practice that has been a part of our society since probably last 10 to 20 years. I think this trend has increased a lot in last 20 years, because I remember in the 90s, everybody used to come back home on time. But since last 20 years, 2000s and all, in fact, from the time computers, laptops, and the internet connection has penetrated our lives, our working hours have no limitation. So, Vandana, what do you think about this?
This thing of glorifying overworking or overtime is a problem that I think is predominantly among the current generation, yes, who do have, like you said, internet connection and all of that. And I think this is a problem that we Indians per se have. Now, I say that because when I was with, the corporates, when I was working with an MNC, I remember when we used to have Indian bosses. When you are reporting to an Indian manager, then there is no work hours as such. So even if office ends at 5, you are invariably stuck in office till 5:30, 6:30. And if it's a project delivery time, then you are stuck till as long as it takes. And I remember it used to seem very normal to us. Of course, I was not married at that time, and sitting late at office was okay. But the day my manager, our company, when I got an American manager, he is the one who told me this. And I remember him telling me, he couldn't say Vandana, so he would call me Vandy, and he would say, Vandy, this is a problem with you Indians, because whether you're working from the Indian office or whether you're working off-site, when you come to America and you're working with us, your day never ends. You are willing to put in that extra effort. So initially, while it might seem like an extra effort, and you're trying to prove your mettle here, you're trying to prove that you are a genuine employee who's hardworking, what happens is you end up sitting there, not really being productive, because there is that much that your body can take. The 8 or 9 hours that we have stipulated for office hours, your body can take only that much. But when you stay back in office and you're trying to extend that hour, your productivity is not going to increase. What is going to happen is you're going to end up getting even more tired. Your productivity is going to go low, and you will end up doing a lot more mistakes when you're staying back and working, as compared to when you would go home early. I mean, you go home on time and come back to office the next day. So this habit of staying back at work and trying to finish everything and trying to maybe earn a few brownie points because you are that hardworking employee who stays back in office is really not working in your favor. So glorifying overtime or overwork is something that is a bug that has bitten us Indians, I believe, completely.
Vandana, that is so absolutely true. I couldn't agree more with you, because your body is designated to work only for those particular hours, and that is the whole idea of having an office timing of probably 8 hours, 9 hours, or 10 hours. But somehow we seem to have forgotten basic physics. We have seem to forgotten basic biology. We seem to have forgotten ourselves. So, Ritvika, what do you think about glamorizing overworking?
See, I would say, like, remember our parents' generation. I remember my father coming back at 5 o'clock in the evening, and he used to work well. Yes, he was being very productive. I mean, he would just invest all those 8 hours. I mean, and he would come back and then he would relax, be with the family. And those wasn't the generation of internet, so no connectivity at all, except the landline phone. And that was also if there was any emergency. But now what has happened is, I mean, I think we Indians are a bit, I mean, scared a lot. I mean, we get baffled very easily. I mean, we would lose jobs. We would think like that. If you don't overwork, I mean, they feel that if you don't spend, overtime, then might be somebody else will take the credit or take the promotion or whatever it is. So, I mean, we get scared very easily that we might lose our job. And that happens also because, sometimes people tend to show, I mean, they don't work that much, but they tend to show that, look, we were sitting for till 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the night, and so we are working more. But that isn't the case. I mean, they must be just, I mean, simply doing nothing, but sitting there and showing that we're till 11 o'clock. That doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, you need to be productive. You shouldn't be sitting there. And I would also say that for women especially, many women tend to drop out of the workforce because of this. In cities like Mumbai, where you have to go back and, it takes a long time commuting. And if the women are expected to sit beyond their 5 o'clock shift or something like that, I mean, it's like they have no family life, they have nothing, and they have to go there again at home and work and do everything. So, I mean, again, that creates a lot of problems for women, and they also drop out of the workforces, So, I mean, I think instead of instead of sitting for long hours, it's more important to be productive in late hours, and that happens. That's very much possible, and people can do that. I mean, I don't know why we Indians tend to glamorize overwork. I mean, even in the house also, the women who work more for longer hours, they're glamorized. And it shouldn't be the case. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens. I mean, so this culture causing a lot of problems, a lot of health issues, mental issues. I mean, that's causing depression, causing health issues, and the family life disturbance. And so I think this should, stop. I don't know why they're stopping this.
Yeah, Ritvika, what you said is absolutely true. There is a point that probably we may have ignored, that somehow we are subconsciously scared of the competition that we have. In India,
Yes.
the population is huge, and you have so many engineers, you have so many management professionals, so many students who graduate every year, and they are ready to work for a smaller salary and to work
Yes,
for a
they
longer
do.
hour, because jobs nahi hai market mein, and the problem is population, which we
Manpower is
gen-
huge, but the jobs are lesser. So that's why people are scared. Yeah.
yeah, people are scared. But even those who are qualified, are they employable? That is a different question. We'll have to
Yes.
take a different discussion on the same. So, Christine, what do you think about glamorizing overworking?
I have a simple mantra: all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So if you
Yeah.
take that simple mantra, and we tell our parents also. In my school, I have something called mindfulness, mindful parenting. So wherein a parent has to switch off and completely focus on doing the task with the children. So in this way, we ensure that parents don't work continuously and neglect the kids. So we have assignments, very creative assignments. Assignments like frog race and crab race for our pre-primary children and parents, because we believe that we don't have to preach a lot, we don't have to speak a lot. We need to get people involved in participating with their children. So how can we do that? So that children will be more, a child will be more balanced if he gets both his mummy and his papa's timing. It's not that only mummy's timing, it has to be papa's timing too. So we give these assignments to our parents and we take the session with them. See, I have never overworked because I was as a lecturer. So I never had that experience. Everybody told me, "Arey, wow, you have good timing. You don't have to get work back home." So I said, hello, I'm teaching not box benches, I'm teaching human. I'm transforming lives. So that's constant working on their minds throughout. So I don't have a fixed timing, but yes, I do have time for my hobby. I do have time for my child, and I do have time for other things. I create time. So that's very important if we follow. My father always used to tell me, do your best at work and do your best with your family. There is a time and time for everything. He always told me that, and I believe that he used to go first to his office from Vasai. He used to travel to wherever he used to go, and even after post 60 he used to travel. He used to reach first, and he would leave on time. He never waited back. He slept at 8 o'clock, and he always believed in that. And he told me, don't overwork yourself, because your company is not going to take care of you, or nobody is going to take care of you. Your family will get in trouble. So I believe we need to work for our family, for our bread and butter. We don't have to work for the company as a slave. So it's very important that we realize our priorities and schedule ourselves. So that's from me. Schedule yourself. You'll be perfect. You don't have any competition. You don't have anything. You just will be the best. The world, people are not looking for apes. We are past the apes. We are looking out for people who can basically multitask, smart workers. And Indians are smart workers because NASA hires Indians. So don't have to work for donkeys, like sitting in the office for 15 and 20 hours. It's not use. Give that time for your hobby, and you will be a wonderful entrepreneur. And seriously, I believe, because of giving extra time to your work, you neglect that passion, that hobby, and you don't say yes to being an entrepreneur. I didn't do that. That's why I could be an entrepreneur. So take this from me. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to figure out your hobby, definitely you can do that if you work only during your work hours and then come and do your hobby. So that's from me. I hope I can inspire people to be
Yes,
entrepreneurs.
definitely. You have inspired a lot of people by telling them one simple thing, that be your best at work and be your best at home. That itself will solve a lot of problems in our society. So we have this. I'm looking for a solution from the panelists on this. We have this practice wherein a lot of companies are a bit lenient towards women employees, saying that okay, you can leave home on time, as if they're doing a favor on us, despite us completing our tasks. But the male employees have to stay back. Ideally, I don't find any sense in the same, because women cannot wind up the kitchen or go down to sleep until and unless the men of the house come home, because they need to have their dinner. Even if they're not having their dinners, there's so much to talk, there's so much to wind up with them, because a child needs both mother and father, a family needs both husband and wife. So there's a lot of imbalance due to that. That is one of the reasons for increasing fights between the couples. And with nuclear families, the burden on both the spouses is just too much. So what is the solution? How can we explain this concept to the corporates that, okay, if you're leaving the wife at 8 o'clock, you have to leave the husband also at 8 o'clock, because this gap of next 6 hours is causing more stress on their relationship, and which will in fact harm the company in future, because the company won't get good productive employees. You'll have to train and train new people, and then that vicious cycle will keep going on. So how can we bring this new practice or this new understanding that both men and women have to leave the office on time and give importance
For
to
that,
your work? Yeah, sure.
I should have said, yeah. For that, the Indian mindset needs to change first. Like they believe that the house job is a woman's job. So or bringing up a child is a mother's job. They need to change that mindset. That the women can do the house job, cooking, and take care of the child's homework, everything. The father doesn't need to be involved in that. But that's very wrong. I mean, first of all, that mindset, patriarchal mindset, needs to change in that case. Like it's both, it's a house of both, and they need to pitch in. Both the husband and wife need to pitch in as parents, as couple. They both need to pitch in. Why should the woman be doing everything alone? I mean, that's the thing. Most corporates might be thinking, like, why does the man need to go? It's that way. So first of all, that thought process needs to change. Like both women and men are equally important in all the fields, be it house, be it job, everywhere. So it's that way. And secondly, the men also need to pitch in. So they have to be a bit vocal about it. Like, I need to help my wife, or not help. I need to be at home and share the house load or my kids. But the thing is, like, they're also scared that it might impact their job. As we said, that there's a lot of manpower and the jobs are lesser. So it's like both ways. I mean, the mindset as well as, the job market, or whatever you can say. So everyone, if they raise their voice against it or try to, talk to their employers about it, maybe it might bring a change, in that way.
What Ritvika said is correct, but this is the mindset not just of the corporate. I think this is a mindset which has to change overall. There has to be an overhauling completely, whether it is, because if you look at it, the corporate does not specifically tell you. Your boss will not come and specifically tell you to, maybe yes, one off if there is a project deadline and it's an urgent project that has to end, maybe he will tell you that please stay back today. But he's not going to tell you this every day. He or she is not going to be telling you this every day, because yes, they will also come under the radar of the HR. What is important over here is that yes, the patriarchal mindset has to change. Secondly, prioritization has to be done. So if me as a woman, if I go to work and I have a set of deadlines for the day, then I have to prioritize. I have to cut down on the me time that we have in office. If you understand, when somebody walks into office, you don't directly go sit on your desk and start working. The first 5 minutes, you will probably, set up your desk. You will probably talk to your co-workers. You will probably go get a cup of coffee. Now this coffee, that that conversation lingers over coffee, and then you start your work. So if you're in office at 9 o'clock, you will probably start working only by 9:30. The same goes for lunch. If you break for lunch at 1, you will not come back at 1:30 exact. You will linger. You'll probably come back to your workspace at 2 o'clock, and so on and so forth. So it's like a spiral effect. So if you are able to prioritize your work for the day, and get it done on time, then yes, whether you're a man or a woman, you can leave office on time. The problem here is that we spend a lot of time in this interpersonal communication that has to happen, that interpersonal, you that socializing that happens. Yes, and off late, with a lot of WhatsApp and with a lot of Facebook and all of that being allowed in offices, a lot of productive time is spent in checking your WhatsApp messages or in checking up your Facebook page feeds. So what a person, this has to come from the person itself, from the individual itself. You prioritize how much you want to finish for the day, and you stick to your priorities, you stick to your schedule, then you can leave at 5:30 or 5, whatever time that you leave office on a normal day. And like you said about this patriarchal society, it'll still take a long time for men to realize that it is not a woman's job, or it is not whole house, homemaking or managing children is not a woman's job. It's an equal responsibility shared by the man and the woman. It is going to take time, change is happening, but yes, this is something that will take time. If we come back to the current state of the country, where the world, we are in lockdown, most of us are working from home. The problem now is that because you're working from home, there is no cutoff limit to your work hours. You're working 24 by 7, because you're
Right.
saving up on the time to travel or sit and discuss. I think meetings which would have happened for half an hour in a office room, is now getting extended to 1 hour. So again, this thing of understanding where your priority lies, understanding that I have to call a spade and say, boss, now is done, I'm done for the day, I think I need to spend time with my family. Whether it's a man or a woman, it has to be vocal. Unless we speak about it, nobody's going to take it seriously. So that's my 2 points.
No, Vandana, yeah, sure, Christine.
I totally agree with, I think we're all in sync with it. It's
Yeah.
basically, if I give an example, our Indian captain, when he went on paternity leave, he took the leave, but the rest of them just attacked him as if, he's done a big crime. The
Right,
gender
right.
roles, gender stereotypes need to be changing. And if people try to go against them, they're actually looked upon as, okay, why are you
Yes.
doing this? So this is something that needs a complete revamp. This is not
Yes.
my job. That is not, like, for instance, sometimes people tend to tell me your husband is feeding your child so nicely with so much of patience. Why can't a man not have patience?
Absolutely.
Why? Why is patience only associated with feminine? So who sets these rules? And who? And why?
Why?
This is something that we need to question, and we need to think
Absolutely.
that we ourselves condition ourselves, that this is a man's role, this is a woman's role. And if anybody does a woman's role, a man doing a woman's role, then we tend to, look at him like, why are you doing this? So this is something that we really need to get rid of. And I think the present system, we see men evolving, going against it. Many men are doing it, but they too need a shoulder and a pat. Like, yes, boss, you're doing a correct thing, and not mock and complete, you're someone different or looking at them with a different eye. So a complete revamping of social structure, and imagining there are no boundaries, there's no roles. We are all meant to do and live together, and we are all meant to create a proper society which everybody needs to function. Our kids are watching, our children are watching, and
Right.
behavior is caught, not taught. So if you're going to continue with stereotypes and these roles, then your children are going to do that themselves. So it starts with the family.
Yes,
It's a big
absolutely.
Yeah, that's
So that's
absolutely
what I
true.
believe. It's not the corporates, it's we who need to send that ripples of change, and we can do it. And we need to be empathetic towards the ones who are the change makers, and really applaud them for that.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
I believe.
absolutely true, Christine. Because when you just spoke about the Indian team cricket captain who went on a paternity leave, when I delivered my son, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, I think his daughter was also born around the same time in that year, and he was playing the World Cup that year, and his daughter was born, but he couldn't be there for his wife, and the entire country applauded him that he's a man who put
Hmm.
the nation first, and everybody praised him. But simultaneously, when somebody did the opposite, that
Yes.
person was criticized. So
The woman would face flag for it.
yeah, so
What
I
kind of
find
a
it
mother are you?
weird.
That's
It's
what would
a
have been said.
choice. And Vandan, I absolutely agree with you that we also need to set our priorities right. Now, here is something that I would like to add my 2 points that when we talk about priorities, we are not taught these interpersonal skills or skill sets in our education, in our professional courses that how you need to prioritize.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have those extra classes to tell us that okay, this is what will prepare you for the corporate life, this is what is going to prepare you for the work life, because we are so busy in mugging up whatever is there in front of us. We just forget that these are the skill sets that we need to develop, how to prioritize. All at the end of the day we are taught is that if you are good to the boss, अगर आप आपके बॉस को मस्का मार के रखोगे, आप आपके बॉस को खुश रखोगे, your job is safe. I think before smashing patriarchy or whatever, if we just break this mindset that you don't have to butter the person who is at a senior position to you to secure your job, I think 90% of the problem should be over. Yes, we need to smash the patriarchy. We need to smash a lot of things, but if we are confident about ourselves, if we are confident about our own skill sets, that no, my boss will require me in the team because he needs my skill set. So I don't have to spend time in socializing or being nice to people. I'm not saying that you don't have to be nice to people. You can say a hello, you can hang out with them, but do it after office hours. Don't do it at their whims and fancies. That is what I feel.
In this, what I'll say, Aishwarya, is while I did say that when you're not able to prioritize, or you're spending a lot of
Yeah.
your time in discussion or chit, there is another thing that is also important over here.
Huh.
This is a life skill. So when you are chit chatting with your team members, if you are see, this is a form of bonding. Yes, it is also a form of learning. So what you probably did not know about a certain subject, when you're interacting with somebody who works with you or who works above you or below you, there is a fresh perspective to that
Yeah.
subject when you're talking. So this interpersonal relationship or the socializing that we do in offices is important. I'm not saying that you have to completely do away with it, because that itself, that is like a team building exercise. If you look at the way, if you look at the huge amounts of the huge sums that corporates are spending these days in having in getting experts or trainers to come and
Yeah.
have these team building exercises in offices, the main aim is so that they can have this kind of a bonding where the entire team is in sync with each other. So the money that is spent now, the training, the entire training industry is a huge money making industry, because corporates are looking out for people who can come and break the ice between employees and get the team to bond. So yes, these social interactions are very important. What I'm saying is, if the social interactions are important, you also need to know that if I am going to be talking about say cricket, if I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes talking about cricket and forget that I need to go back and there is a mail that has to go, or there is an article that has to be
Hmm.
written and has to be submitted, when you forget that. So as an individual, if you forget your priority, as an individual, if you forget your deadline, that is when the problem comes. So if, like I said, research has indicated that 8 to 9 hours is the maximum that you can pull yourself to do your productive
Right.
best. After 9 hours, your body is tired, your mind definitely is tired. And when you think in your mind, if you're going to be thinking, yes, that I'm going to, anyways, I'm going to put in extra hours, आज तो थोड़ा देर और मैं बैठने वाला हूँ office में, what happens is, immediately or automatically your mind goes on a relaxation mode कि हाँ,
Yeah.
I have another 15 minutes, I will finish, अरे 1 घंटा और है, हो जाएगा. So your mind itself is slowing down. So whether you're going to be staying in office for 2 more hours, you are not going to be able to do the kind of work that you would have done in that 9 to 5 that you was meant to be working in. So
Right.
Yeah. No, Vandana, I didn't say that, you are not taught about prioritizing. What I meant is, yes, we do learn a lot by talking to our peers. We learn a lot by talking to our, seniors. But somehow, we have also missed out that thin line, as you said, that, you don't need to have a 30-minute conversation. You can have that 30-minute conversation, but after 5 o'clock. You don't need to do it during the working hours, because probably for you it's okay to go back home at 10 o'clock, but for the front person it may not be okay to
absolutely.
go home at 10 o'clock. So before we wind up, this one last question. Does long working hours, I know everybody has answered this, but once more to emphasize on this point once again, that what are the damages of working for long hours, and how badly does it affect your productivity? Because everybody who's looking at this video, I'm sure, is in the mindset that I have a deadline, I need to cover it up, and that's why I need to work for longer hours. So what is the solution to this problem? How can you say that, no, this is the way you can get things done? So what is your tip or solution on glamorizing overwork?
See, collectively, everyone needs to, put their foot down. After a certain time, we have done our work for the day, and yes, you can call us up if there's any emergency. Otherwise, the day is, over. But that should be from everyone, not just one person cannot bring the change. That's a collective change that needs to be brought. And for that, everyone has to be, they raise their voice and maybe at the same page. So for that, every office, every workplace, they need to be cooperative. Every employee should be cooperative. And once everyone is together, then only the change can be there. Any change can be brought when everyone is supportive of that thing. It's not that I raise a voice and rest of my colleagues are no chalta hai. It doesn't happen that way. So my voice won't be heard. It's like that. So everyone needs to speak up. We are having family issues. There's a lot of issues in the family, or we are having health issues now, or maybe depression. There are a lot of things that happen. People have started getting older at a young age for that reason. They don't have any family life, time for themselves. Even when they're on holidays, they need to carry their phones or laptops. That doesn't work. That's not actually a break. So they need to, everyone needs to be vocal about it. And that's when the change will happen,
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We can't do it like individual. Yeah, sure. Christine.
Yeah, I believe if you overwork yourself, you're going to hamper your growth. There's a lot of things that are going to affect you, your personal life, your professional life. Also, if you are not healthy, you won't be healthy, because a person who overworks himself, his body clock will always be, that person will not be healthy. So it's important to actually say no sometimes. Though I am saying it's very difficult, because me being an entrepreneur at this time, it's quite difficult because with the pandemic situation. But at times you need to switch off, and I have done it. I have switched off and not checked my phone, and not spoken to anyone, and just been on a silent mode. I'm not saying do it regularly, but you need to do that to introspect, to contemplate what am I actually created for. And it's indeed wonderful. That will pep you up for almost 2-3 months. You will be like totally pepped up. I did that I think I remember telling Aishwarya, I'm on a break now. I won't be talking to anyone because I have overworked. I am going to die out now. So I didn't talk to anybody. Though people were teaching me, I took their calls and spoke to them the next day. Yes, it was a difficult situation for us during the pandemic, and there were a lot of other problems. But I'm telling you, at least in 3 months, you should switch off completely. I'm not saying go and do meditation, but think, sit down quietly, listen to music, go put your legs in some water, play on the beach, because life is not only about working yourself out. It's about making a difference, enjoying it. And you will not realize that. Then later on, it's very difficult for you to make that difference, because when you reach probably a particular age, you will not attract youth to listen to you. So you have to keep yourself healthy and strong and be pepped up so that you can inspire others. Take that virtual break off, and it will really help you. It regenerates you totally. I have been, this is a simple funda that I follow. I learned this from my husband, and he told me take a virtual break, leave everything, don't answer any calls. If you want, you take your Bible and go and sit somewhere and you sit and pray. And it worked wonders for me. For 4 or 5 months, then I was powerhouse. So do
That's
this.
absolutely true, Christine. It is important
Yes.
that you switch off. Even when your electronics are heated, we just switch it off for a
Yes,
few
yes.
hours. We just switch off your brakes. Vandana, what do you think is the solution, and what is your message to everybody?
Like Ritvika and Christina said, very true. And like Christina said, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I completely agree with that. But you also, so like I said, prioritize your work, prioritize what has to come in your work. So prioritize your day. You make a schedule for the day, whether it is, and include everything in it. So your schedule should have your family time, should have your work, and all of that. Also, you have to remember that when you're working with an organization, or whether you're an entrepreneur, or whether you have your, you run your own business, you are invested in that. You're invested your, if you're a businessman, of course you've invested your money, but even otherwise you've invested your mind, your intellect in what you're doing. So your loyalty is important. So it might, in this current situation where we're all working
Hmm.
from home, maybe it is not very easy to cut off and say that, no, okay, this is the end of the day for me and I'm going to be spending time with my family. No, do it. If you have to take an important phone call, you pick up that phone call. But you have to work smart and work wise. So if you're going to be spending the entire day, it's like when you used to go to office, you never carried your home problems to office.
Hmm.
Once you stepped into the office, you were only focused on what's happening at office. But when you came back home, you still had the office with you. So then you have to remember that when you're stepping into your house, you have to keep your office at the doorstep and then step in. And if you do have to carry your office in with you, then you have to work smartly with it. Spend time with your family, spend time with your wife, your daughters, your children, spend time with your husband, your children, your family. It's very important. Yes, if you have to work smart. I think working smart and prioritizing is the only tip to having a healthy work life and a healthy family life. So that balance that we talk about, work life balance, which is quite a term these days where everybody's
Yes.
talking about maintaining a work life balance. That balance will come when you yourself are balanced and you know where you have to give how much time. So I think that, like I said, it starts from the individual, that person. If I have to decide that, okay, this time that I had to give my children, I'm sitting here and doing this panel discussion. Once the discussion is over, I'm going to give this time to my children. And then,
Hmm.
so you
Yeah.
have to work smart. You have to find your own zing and work with it, but you have to find it, accepting that you need to maintain your work, bring about that work life balance. That is the start to everything else.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vandana. And yes, every change begins with our individual, and that is something that our panelists, all three panelists, have been repeatedly saying that it's absolutely fine if you can switch off yourself. It's absolutely fine to give priority to yourself. There's nothing wrong in the same. So that is the reason why this glamorizing overwork was something that I had seen all through my life. But it did not affect me till the time I became a wife and I became a mother. Because when you're a daughter, you're like least bothered what happens around the house.
Hmm.
But when you're a wife, when you're a mother, all the responsibility comes on your head. And that is when I
Right.
realized how bad this practice was. And through social media, I came to know that it is not only me. A lot of women are suffering through the same.
Right.
When I was working with the family court as one of the panel advocates, this was one of the reasons for maximum disputes between the couples, because they couldn't understand each other's problems, and it's like you're also working, she's also working, and then there's a lot of misunderstanding because you barely spend 15 minutes to 2 hours with your spouse, so you're not able to understand, you're not able to grasp that much of each other's problems and their requirements. And that itself has resulted into a lot of divorces in the recent times. So yes, it is our work culture which has been a contributing reason to increasing mental health issues, physical health issues, emotional traumas, child
Right.
development issues. Because if both the parents are not there with the child at that particular age, causes a lot of developmental issues for them. Because earlier it didn't cause, because people came back home on time. They were not stressed. People lived in joint families. When you're in a nuclear family, it is perfectly normal for the person who's looking after the child to get very overwhelmed at the end of the day. You need your support,
Right.
you need the physical and mental support along with the financial support from your spouses. So that is the reason why I have started with this campaign called as Glamorizing Overwork, where I'm planning to interview at least 1 lakh employees in this year, in the year 2021, so that we can talk about this. At least we can
Right.
start a conversation, and probably we can all
Any,
realize.
there should be an awareness about it. Yeah, we should talk more about it. Yeah,
Yeah, there should be
absolutely.
awareness and responsibility about. People
Yes.
should be responsible about glamorizing overwork, because
Hmm.
some or the other way, we ourselves have been indirectly contributing in glamorizing overwork. So it's okay. Let us say that, let's stop. It ends here. I'm not going to glamorize you. That's it. That's it. That is where it ends. So thank you so much, Vandana, Ritvika, and Christine, for enlightening us with your viewpoints. I'm sure the audience had a wonderful, grasping session. I hope they learned a lot from this panel. So thank you so much, Vandana. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Ritvika.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aishwarya. That's nice panel.
Thank
Pleasure
you. It's a
talking to you.
wonderful initiative,
Bye.
Aishwarya, and I
Yes.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yes.